Welcome. The purpose of this video is to introduce you to FMCSA's Commercial Driver's License Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse, also referred to as the Clearinghouse. You'll be guided through 5 topics. Let's begin with an explanation of what the Clearinghouse is. The Clearinghouse is a secure online database that contains records of violations of FMCSA's drug and alcohol testing program, including positive drug or alcohol test results and test refusals. When a driver completes the return to duty process and follow-up testing plan, this information will also be recorded in the Clearinghouse. Only select registered users, including employers and FMCSA, will be able to access the Clearinghouse directly. Other government agencies, such as state driver licensing agencies and state law enforcement agencies, will receive information on driver eligibility status only. The Moving Ahead for Progress in the 21st Century Act, or MAP 21, directed the Secretary of Transportation to develop the Clearinghouse as a way to better share drug and alcohol program violations. FMCSA published the Clearinghouse Final Rule in December 2016, which established the Clearinghouse requirements and mandated that it be operational by January 6, 2020. To learn more about the Clearinghouse Final Rule, visit the link at the bottom of the screen. So who is required to use the Clearinghouse? CDL drivers, that is, drivers who hold a commercial driver's license or commercial learner's permit. Employers of CDL drivers who operate commercial motor vehicles, consortium third-party administrators, medical review officers, substance abuse professionals. Users are required to perform various actions in the Clearinghouse. A user roll card is available for download from the Clearinghouse website. To access the Clearinghouse, users must first register. Once registered, employers, designated CTPAs, and MROs will record drivers' drug and alcohol program violations and other related information in the Clearinghouse. Employers will request driver consent to check their records. Drivers will log into the Clearinghouse to provide or refuse consent. Note that drivers are not required to register for the Clearinghouse, but must be registered to respond to electronic requests from their prospective and current employers. After obtaining the required consent, employers and/or designated CTPAs will query the Clearinghouse to determine if the query driver's Clearinghouse record contains information about drug and alcohol program violations. The primary mission of FMCSA is to improve safety on our nation's roadway by preventing CMV-related fatalities and injuries. The Clearinghouse will help meet this goal by providing employers and FMCSA enforcement personnel access to reported violation information in real time, by making it easier for employers to meet pre-employment investigation and reporting obligations, by making it harder for drivers to conceal drug and alcohol violations from employers, by providing more insight into employer compliance with drug and alcohol testing requirements. Now that you know what the Clearinghouse is and its role in improving highway and road safety, it's time to take action. Are you registered for the Clearinghouse? Visit the Clearinghouse website to register today. You can also read frequently asked questions, subscribe for email updates, or visit the Clearinghouse Learning Center to download a variety of helpful materials. The Clearinghouse will be a vital online tool to identify commercial driver's license and commercial learner's permit holders who have refused or failed drug tests or have failed to complete a return-to-duty substance abuse program. Thank you for your continued effort to support this process. Your contribution plays an important role in improving highway and road safety for everyone.
Well, good evening, everybody. Sorry, I have to fix my camera. I'm sorry, guys. Somehow I got blurry there. Well, it's nice to see all of you joining me today. And we are going to be talking about Clearinghouse. So what is a Clearinghouse? So you've seen official video from Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse, which is Don from FMCSA. You know what, guys? Let me just give me a second and let me just change my camera. I don't know what happened. Just give me a 10 seconds. Well, it is better now. Sorry for interruption. Sometimes it's not easy to go live, with all the microphone in front of me, 2 cameras, bright lights, because I do like the daylight. Sometimes, I'm not that technical advanced. You guys think that I can do everything. I guess I do not have patience to all of this technical live streaming. So just bear with me and thank you for your patience. I see a few people join us. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. So you've just seen the preview about Clearinghouse. Well, Clearinghouse have been in process for a few years. And finally, in 2021, this year, it went in a full enforcement. FMCSA, they took them approximately 9-10 years to develop this system. In 2020, we were in transition. They were advising us as a trucking company to register and make sure that we run queries. Fancy word for kind of report, right? Queries. We're going to look through this, see what kind of queries are there, what you require to do. But it took them a year. So some people register right away. People who wanted to be on top of their safety and compliance, they registered in 2020. Some of them were doing pre-employment queries. Some of them were doing annuals. But starting this January 6, 2021, it became mandatory. And you guys understand, in my safety classes, I think students do not like that word coming out of my mouth, because mandatory, that means you have to do it. No matter what, your company, your safety department, if you're running your own company, you guys have to do it. So now Clearinghouse is mandatory for trucking companies, for motor carriers. Let's look through some slides and I will be answering some questions. Let's say a few good nights to everybody who is watching. So good evening. So we have company of this information. We're going to get to this. And good evening. So before we jump into answering some questions, let me give you first knowledge and then I will clarify. So Clearinghouse, this is a official program done by whom? By FMCSA. And as many of you already know, FMCSA is a federal motor carrier safety administration that does what? It regulates trucking industry, right? All those rules which some of you think it's nonsense, like ELD, right? Everybody's on ELD. Driver has to sleep for 10 hours, right? You have to have the driver qualification files. And why would they do that? Well, for one thing, guys, as a carrier, right? You going on public roads. And in my classes, all my students already know that a good government tries to regulate industries which can affect public. And because you guys going on public roads, because sometimes when we have accidents, we are injuring public, government is taking care of protecting public. That's why transportation is very regulated by federal government. But we're not just regulated by FMCSA, right? So FMCSA, this is a federal government administration, right? Safety carrier administration. But also in each state, you guys have USDOT, right? United States Department of Transportation of Idaho, United States Department of Transportation of Wisconsin, United States United States Department of Transportation in each state. So we have a second level. We have a federal, then we have state, Then you guys have local ordinance, right? Because every city, every village, they have another rules on top of the state law, of the federal law. So we are very regulated. Besides that, who else regulates us? Well, we have Federal Highway Administration, right? Because we a lot of times dealing with what? With carrying food. Who else regulates us? Well, Food and Drug and Alcohol Administration. So when you guys hear all that, if you really want to succeed, don't you think that knowing the rules and regulations, making sure that you comply to them, it is important part of succeeding in trucking business? That's why safety and compliance is a must for anyone who wants to be in transportation. If you dispatcher, you still need to understand safety and compliance, even simply starting with hours of service, right? It's hours of service, guys. It's not hours of sleeping, it's hours of service. We have certain rules for the driver, how many hours they can drive, how often do they have to take a restart, right? What is their shift? What is the sleeping burst split? All those rules and regulation as a dispatcher, you need to know. Okay, now most of you gonna say, well, Alex, it's only me. I am one truck, one guy. I own my company. Why do I have to have all of this, right? Well, because doesn't matter if you're a company with one truck or you're a company with 100 trucks, rules and regulations are the same for everybody. For formula for safety ratings, it's going to be differ on which bracket you go to. That depends on how many vehicles you have. But something like clearinghouse, something like maintenance files, something like driver qualification files, hiring, rehiring, drug and alcohol, the same rules for everybody. Even if you are your own driver, your own company, and you're the guy who is dispatcher, safety manager, accounting, you still need to have that, right? So let's gonna go through this and figure this out. So again, we're gonna be talking today about drug and alcohol clearing house. Okay. Let's look at this. Why FMCSA is trying to make sure that the system, this new kind of program will improve? Well, because they hope that it's going to be easier for the employers to kind of meet their what? Pre-employment investigation and their reporting obligation on what? On positive drug and alcohol results, right? So let me tell you how it was done before. Well, now, for example, I own the company, right? Alex Transportation. Let's say, ironically, I see that he just said, good day, everyone, right? Let's say he's a driver, right? He comes to my company, and it's how it used to be before the clearinghouse was mandatory. He comes to me. If I really complying with the regulations, if I really comply with the safety rules, I will have to send him to the drug and alcohol testing, right? First. Usually, you have to get the driver application. He have to sign all his previous employments if he was a driver somewhere, if he had to be a part of drug and alcohol program, right? So he comes to me, I send him to drug test. Let's say I even did employment verification and he never had a positive drug test. Well, I send him to the drug test, and sorry that I am just using him as example. Don't take it personal. Just, I just see the screen right here. And he gets a positive test result. Well, before, most of the people were, okay, I'm not going to hire you. And I would make a note in his DQ file that he was an applicant, never got hired because he had a positive drug result. Well, nowadays, with all the technology, with all the special, maybe he went and he stopped using the drugs for a week or two. Maybe he cleaned himself out. He goes to somebody else, let's say Rosa. I see Rosa Velasquez Transportation. So he goes to Rosa, and Rosa maybe sending him to drug test. He goes for drug test, and it's negative. So if she did not call, or if she did not have reports from the previous positive drug results, she had no idea if that he only 2 weeks ago he had positive drug result, right? So she goes and she hires him, and that's it. He starts doing drugs again. Same with an alcohol. So that's why the system had cracks into this. They came up with this, and every CDL driver has to be registered in this system. Every trucking company have to be registered. Every third-party consortium, drug and alcohol, have to be registered. Every SAP, substance abuse professional, has to be registered. So in this case, if we are playing this scenario now, if he comes now and he has a positive test result, I am reporting him. SAP's reporting him. Third-party consortium, and it stays in a system. But the thing is, the new rule now, before I even send him to drug and alcohol testing, I have to go to the system and run report with what? With his name, last name, and his CDL. So if I do that, it will show, does he has any history, and if he's approved to go on and go for the test. So that's why now it's harder. But again, we go back to people who think that trucking will always be run like, I don't know, they hope for the miracles. Guys, this is the rules and regulations. And because of some companies do not really pay attention, or they just take drivers who are not qualified. That's why, guys, we are seeing those accidents. That's why we are seeing people dying, just because trucking companies do not pay attention to proper hiring. And I know that it's not easy to find the drivers. I know that we have a shortage, but it will be on you guys. When somebody's kid dies, when somebody's family dies, just because you still faking and you still don't do your hiring and you don't do check and you don't send them to drug and alcohol. And I know in Chicago, guys, here you go, brand new truck, just go. They don't even verify previous employment. They don't even send them to drug and alcohol. So that's why, please stop all this nonsense. You can be successful in trucking. You can still make money and profits, even with all the rules and regulations. So let's go and see what you need to do. So that's what they're hoping. And let's pay attention. What information will be in a clearinghouse? So first, right, if you have positive drug or alcohol result, right? So they will be there. Also, it's going to be refusals. Let's say you have been chosen to go for drug test and you refusal. So if you refuse, maybe you don't know the rules, but I can tell you this, guys. When you refuse to go to drug test, and usually you have up to 10 days when you randomly chosen by the system, because every CDL driver, when they are hired, they are put in a random pool, drug and alcohol random pool. So every quarter, it depends on the size of your company, you need to meet that criteria, right? That percentage. So a lot of times when you only one person running, it's going to be you, and you. But let's say you have 10 drivers. And sometimes people get upset. Why they pick only me? I am not a bad driver. I don't do drugs. Guys, again, remember, random. This is like a lottery. That's why they choose, the system choose whoever they choose to make sure that it's fair. And sometimes I had one unlucky driver. Every time we were chosen 4 or 5 drivers, he had to go like 4 or 5 times. He told me, Alex, is that something wrong? You don't like me? But guys, that's not me. That's not you as an owner. We have national random pool, and that's how they choose. So hopefully you clear on this. So if you refuse, maybe you going on vacation, right? And you went on vacation longer, and you were chosen for what? For drug or alcohol, and you did not do it on time, because we have a lot of people who live outside of the country for months or so, right? So here's a mistake for people who run this company. Their safety personnel has to remove them. They need to terminate their employment if you're gonna be absent for more than 30 days. How many people do that? Because it's a lot of paperwork. Now you terminated him. Then you need to rehire him. You need to go through a lot of things, paperwork. You need to send him to drug tests. You need to verify his MVR, run his MVR, and all other things. So a lot of people don't do this. Sometimes driver thinks, okay, I'm gonna go for drug test while I am waiting for the load. He goes, and maybe he goes inside of med stop, right? Happens a lot, guys. Please don't do this. He goes inside, and it's a lot of people waiting, and he already came. He says, I'm gonna take the test. And then he looks on his clock, and his dispatcher telling him, well, come on, you're gonna be late. Just leave. Just leave. Do it another day. You have 3-4 days. Maybe you'll do it in Indiana, because you can do anywhere. You can choose any drug and alcohol facility in a country. So he leaves. Usually, good drug and alcohol facilities, they will explain everybody in details that if you leave and you did not finish the test because you did not want to wait, it will be considered as refusal of the test. It's the same as having positive drug and alcohol test. First of all, now you have to go through the system. You have to get clear, and legally you cannot be on the road. So, dear dispatchers, if you're not sure about rules and regulations, and your driver's already went, and he's just waiting there, you'd better cancel the load, because he has to finish the drug test. He cannot just walk away. That's why I'm doing this for even people who are just gonna be dispatchers, because you need to understand this. Okay, so let's go back. What else? Who will be using Clearinghouse, and who is using Clearinghouse? First, employers, right? So I own trucking company, Jerry opened trucking company, Imran or Sushila, owners of the company. Then we have Irakul, then we have Said, then we have somebody else who are the drivers, right? So we have employees, we have CDL drivers. Who else is going to be using? Medical review officers, right? The one who taken your test, right? So they have to report. Let's say you did had a problem. Well, you will have to go through what? Through SAP, Substance Abuse Professional, right? And only after you go through classes, through maybe rehab, you finally gonna qualify to go return to duty, right? After SAP is gonna let you do it. Also, who else? Let's say you are not running your own safety. Who else is gonna have use in Clearinghouse? Your third-party consortiums, right? On your behalf, they will be performing all these queries. And of course, state licensing agencies, right? So now, guys, when you're driving and your driver gets pulled up by inspection, well, I guess what is it? Who is a police officer? Well, he works for state or federal government. He has access. So if you did not do your job and you put the driver who had positive test results or alcohol and he did not go to clearing return to duty system, all the things he has to do, and believe me, it's not cheap. Substance abuse professionals are not cheap. They know they can charge you money. They know you cannot go back. Those rehabs programs, they not cheap. You guys know if you get a DUI nowadays, what does it run you? 20, 25,000. So how many people can afford to even go through that? That's why most of the people who just trying to keep running, make money, they just closing their eyes. They put unqualified driver and they are putting all of us in danger just by simply not even doing drug and alcohol test. So all the system works, we all connected. And yes, guys, you as an employee, as the owner of the trucking company, if you will be audited, you will pay fine. And now it is $5,600 per occurrence. Also, if you just open company, right? And in 6 or 10 months, within the 18 months period, you will have new safety entry audit. You know what? One of the reports and questions and proofs you will need to give to the officer, you will need to send them screenshot from your login and reports that you did pre-employment test, what time till which day and which second. Can you fake it? No, guys, you cannot fake it. I have so many people who just open trucking companies and they think, oh, it's okay, I have time to catch up on driver qualification files. And then they called for the first new entrant audit. And they call me and they offer lots and lots of money. Alex, please just do it. Just, guys, first of all, if I could have fake federal website or break into it, right, I would be millionaires. I am not going to jail. I cannot fake their website. It's a federal administration. So please learn how to do it correct. You have to do it before driver goes. So let's keep going. You've been hearing what type of drivers, right? So anybody who has CDL, school bus drivers, right? Construction equipment operation, limo drivers, interstate, intrastate motor carriers, passengers carriers, right? All the municipal vehicle drivers, all the federal vehicles, everybody has to be in the system. It's no excuses. So queries, this fancy query. So it's just the same word as a report. Queries. Let's put the information and see what outcome, right? So query is an electronic check in the clearinghouse conducted by whom? By employer or their designated third-party consortium, right? To determine if current or prospective employees are prohibited from performing safety-sensitive functions, such as operating a commercial motor vehicle, right? Due to what? Due to unresolved drug and alcohol program violation. Okay. Why do you need to purchase a query plan? And what is a query plan? Well, because, guys, system is not free, right? Everything which has to do with rules and regulations, it's always money involved, right? We pay taxes, we pay fees. So truck in one of those industries where we pay a lot and lots and lots of things. So again, when you register for Clearinghouse, you as a company have to purchase query plan. And believe it or not, this is not expensive. They could have made any amount and you will have no you will have to pay anyway because it's mandatory. But let's see. So first, before we look at the query plans, let's see what types of queries are there. So we have limited query and full query, right? So limited query is checks if their clearinghouse has any records and if driver is prohibited or not. So limited query, what do you need to do? Well, before you run query on anyone, you need to have consent signed by the driver. This is America, guys. Can you just take somebody's social security and without their permission start doing MVRs, checking their credit? Can you do that? Not really. Federal government makes sure that public is protected. I mean, they do the best what they can do, right? To protect our identities, to protect the personal information. And of course, we have all the breaches. Sometimes the information get leaks. And believe me, whoever needs the information, they get it anyway. But we're talking about the regulations and rules. So as a trucking company, you need to make sure driver signs consent for limited query. And I'm gonna show you how it looks. You know what? Let me open you one. Okay. So right here. So this is a consent, right? So general consent for limited queries, and it comes from website. You guys can download. You can put the name, and you, whoever, me, let's say Alex, I'm giving consent to this carrier to run limited query on me. So I gather this information, I put it in a driver qualification files. If I will hire him, that it's gonna stay there. If he's an applicant, I still have to keep it for 3 years because all paperwork will keep for 3 years for applicants and terminated drivers. So he signs the permission and I go to the system and I run the query. If he's good, it's gonna say driver is not prohibited. What do I need? I need his name, his last name, and his CDL. I don't need his address. I don't need his social security. I only need his CDL. So just make sure, word of advice, don't make a mistake, right? If you see the driver is not found, if driver is not found, what does it mean? That means the driver did not register, right? So if the driver did not register, he has to go and register. And I'm going to show you how it's done. So let's go back to this. Reason for limited queries. First, it's for pre-employment or annual check, right? And look at this. Query cannot be, if you get that driver is prohibited, you will need to go and run a full query. But the full query cannot be done with only piece of paper signed by the driver. It's gonna be sent from FMCSA. So when you run a full query, because your driver is prohibited, that means that he has a history of positive drug and alcohol or some issues that are not solved for his return of duty, you have to do full query. And the system is gonna send him email, and the driver has to agree. And I can tell you this, most of the time, the drivers who have problem and who prohibited, they never gonna sign that consent electronically. They will make up stories for you. Well, I did not receive email. I forgot what I'm registered. You know why? Because they cannot legally run your beautiful truck, right? So usually those guys disappear. And what are they looking for? They are looking for the owners who don't work by the rules, right? So they still find a job, believe it or not, right? So let's see at the pricing. So you guys know that it's not that much. So it's $1.25, right? Per query. So here's the bundles. You purchase right on the website with a credit card or something, and they're gonna stay there. So if you're a company of 3 trucks, you should purchase how many? You should purchase 6, right? Because you require to do pre-employment and then annual query once a year. So if you have 3 trucks, just purchase 6 queries. They will be showing there that you have them. The moment you use all of them, go back to the system and purchase again. Look, even for the big companies, if you have 100 trucks, the number's still the same, right? They don't really give you the break. It's $125 because it's not that much. Okay, let's go. Question which everybody have been asking me, right? Annual queries. Are you up to date? People who do safety, we've been discussing this on mentoring because we require to do annual queries. So your limited query will satisfy your annual query requirement. Listen to me one more time. If you did your limited query, let's say in August of 2021, you're not gonna do the query till next year, August 2022. The annual query is tracked on a roll 12 months basis, right? Just because you conducted your last in December, it is time to conduct your next round on queries. But if you hired somebody, so it depends when you hire them, right? So again, just go from the date of hire. You did your pre-employment query in September of 2021. This year, you don't have to do annual query. You will do it by next September. That's how it works. Because I did have to verify that. I call FMCSA because a lot of people still did the queries in the middle of the year. And I'm like, do I really have to go? And some of us, even, I was thinking, oh my God, $1.25 just gonna do it. Well, it's not gonna hurt you. You just check in one more time, but still, you don't have to do it. Okay, so annual query. So how do you guys do this? Well, when you creating the Clearinghouse account as a trucking company employer, then you have your login and you're gonna go and do what? And conduct your query. So we're gonna look through a few things. I'm gonna show how it looks. And are we required to do that? Yes. And before we do this, we need to make sure we do what? We have that sign authorization from the driver, and they even give it to you guys. You don't have to create one. You don't have to ask Alex, please send me one. No, guys, I am teaching you to start using the information and being able to find your own stuff, your own form, especially if they are provided right there, right? It's not that hard for me, but I want to make sure you learn. So after this class, if you guys gonna be asking me, Alex, please send it to me. No, in a safety class, yes, of course I'm gonna give them example, but everybody else, you can go and you can find everything, even in a safety class. It's gonna be part of their homework to go and get all this information together and see how it works, right? So this is a simple sample, right? Given on the website. So all you have to do, you have to make sure that you insert what? Your company name, and your driver will put his name here. He's gonna put the signature and date. And again, can you sign this after you guys receive this? After you did the query? No, it has to be signed before. Even if you're gonna do it right now, it has to be signed 1 minute before you guys doing it, right? Again, some people had to go back and fake that because they were not aware that they had to have this piece of paper signed and put in everybody's driver qualification file, right? Well, if you have to fake it to stay compliant, hopefully this is going to be last time you have to fake, because after this video, it's no excuse to keep faking and just follow the rules and regulations, right? So this is a form. What is a query plan? We already went through that, right? How to purchase this. And again, employers may obtain a multi-year general consent from the driver for limited queries. If an employer obtains such a consent in 2020, the employer does not need to obtain the driver consent again in 2021, right? So this form, if the driver still works for you for a few years, it can be just done once, and you just go and you run his annual query, right? If you just want to make sure that you overdo it, then get it again, right? But this is okay as long as you have it in his files. Okay, what else? And another important thing. So a repetition of what I already said. What if an employer conducted a pre-employment query within the past 12 months? See, the pre-employment query satisfies the annual query requirement for that driver. Employers are not required to query the driver until 1 year after the pre-employment query. One more time, just take a second. So don't overdo it, because sometimes people get scared and they start overthinking. I mean, this is a good thing, but you have to make sure you're comfortable with your safety and with your company. So let's go, and let me close my FMCSA. So how to register as a driver, right? So as a driver, guys, again, when you guys are gonna go on a website, Clearinghouse website, everything is there, and I'm gonna show you. But let me show you this. They have all this. They have all of this printouts. You can download. You can just look at this, and it shows you step by step how to do it. Where do you go? Who you have to choose? Look, it's very done, very nice. I think FMCSA does a very good job. So who can register? See, if you're a driver, you're gonna click on driver. If you're an employer, you're gonna click on employer. If you are substance abuse professional, or you are medical professional, you're gonna register there. And you just have to go step by step, right? You will need to make sure you have email. You need to make sure you verify your email, right? And then you guys going to have account. You create an account. You will need to have you will need to choose 2 verifications. So it can be phone and email. The problem is with the driver. Sometimes drivers create the email or they change the phone. Remember, it's not that easy to update. I hope they're gonna fix this problem, but so far, this is kind of one of their glitch in the system. If you change the phone, if you lost your email, it's very hard to re-register. And they've been working on it for the last year, and hopefully they will come up with some idea. Okay, so all of this is here. So driver consent form for annual query, right? So if the first one was for pre-employment, this one is for annual. Again, what are you guys gonna do? You guys gonna put your company, and that's what it is. Driver's name, CDL, signature, and date. And look at this. This consent is valid for a period of 5 years or until the employment with the company is terminated. So, all my safety girls, if you are getting these consents right now. They are good for 5 years. Just make sure you keep them in a digital format. Or if you still do the old-fashioned way and you just have the papers in your folders, I don't care how you do it, just make sure you have it. By the way, I think in the next year or so, FMCSA changing the rules, and we all have to have digital DQ files and everything else, so it's easier for them to conduct audits, right? So that's what it is. So let's see our beautiful website. Close all the tabs, sorry. I have 2 monitors. So this is a website, right? Let me go somewhere here so you can see better. You go to Clearinghouse, they have everything. They have your account, you can log in, right? If you log in, it's gonna take you to your login. You have to sign in. It's gonna, right here. So this is you. Yes, check, continue. So this is one of my carriers stuff, right? The violations or not. So that was their account. But let's go back. Let's go back to just regular Clearinghouse, right? So my profile, so login, that tells who is here and all the things. So you can register. Look, it tells you to register, or you can learn all of the things about this program, right? Look, you can visit the learning center, right? All the queries, everything, whatever you want to learn, how to register, interactive guide. You guys can even watch all of this, right?
You can conduct queries or report drug and alcohol program violations in the FMCSA.
Well, we're not going to run it today because you guys can do it on your own, right? You can see how to conduct a full query. Look at this. What shows up, guys? All this guide, which you can have and send to your safety personnel, have it in your folders, how to purchase a plan. So everything is here. Everything is so clear. You have the instructions, you have videos, you have even employer brochure. So if you want to do trainings for your drivers, everything is here. So guys, there is no excuse not to stay compliant. Hopefully, I did answer your questions. I don't want you to be scared of FMCSA. I don't want you to be scared of the drug and alcohol program. I want to make sure that you just do it. And you have all the resources for everybody one more time on website. Even if you just planning to open company, you can go and start learning, right? It's free. You don't have to log in to use queries, return to duty, violations, anything you need, it's here, right? All the cards, what register user can do, everything is here. So guys, it's not because, oh my God, Alex is genius. Oh, Alex knows. No, Alex just knows how to use resources, how to go to official sites, how to read, how to comply, and stay, and making sure that all my cares are staying with a good safety scores. Okay. So I'm gonna answer a few questions. I don't really think we have that many questions about Clearinghouse. Just remember, before you put the driver in your truck, you need to do drug and alcohol test. Before you do drug and alcohol test, you mandatory need to check him in a Clearinghouse. We have 2 forms, limited and full, right? Full queries. We call them queries. If you did the limited query and the system's gonna tell you driver is not prohibited to drive, you just send him to drug test. Hopefully he has negative drug test and he's good to go. Of course, this is just a little small part of what? Of hiring process, right? In our safety class, we're gonna go in details. It's very intense about what? all the driver qualification files, maintenance files, because we need to run MVR, PSP, Clearinghouse. We need to have application. We need to verify employment. We need to make sure we do training. He has to go to the road test. He has to sign our policies, right? It's so much paperwork which has to be done before you guys give him keys from that brand new Freightliner, which nowadays runs you 170, 185,000, right? So make sure you do that. You need to make sure you give them training on HOS, right? You have to have proof that you gave him training, right? He has to be signing drug and alcohol, not only form, but policy. He has to agree to be enrolled in a random pool. You cannot just enroll him without him signing that policy. So just from today class, right, from this little hour, do you understand how many folders you need to have, how many forms has to be signed? And guys, it's not a joke. This is mandatory rules and regulations. Okay, so let's see if I have any questions. And yes, thank you. Thank you for not complaining. Irakli said that you are fine. I do not complain. Hello, Alex. Good evening. So let's see. 4 semis at car close I-70 yesterday due to accidents, ice and snow in Colorado. Well, thanks for letting us know. And actually, I see Jerry is a new member. Thanks for supporting us. We're going to do live on how to deal with weather conditions. What do you need to know as a dispatcher? What measures do you have to do as a safety manager? Probably we're going to do it maybe January 2nd or 3rd because I have time till the class starts to go live almost every day. You know, guys, I work a lot, so it's not a problem for me to go and educate all of you. So yes, we're going to be talking about it. What has to be done by driver? What is a smart decision? And as a dispatcher, how do you really need to watch that snowstorm and weather condition and learn how to say no to brokers, because it is your driver, it is your truck, it is your company, and nobody's load of Dr. Pepper is worth somebody's life. So your driver has to stop. He has to have a safe shelter. So don't ever push your driver through bad weather condition. It will be on you. And a good driver, professional driver, he will stop. He will make sure he is not taking a chance. So we're going to talk about that. Let's see. Okay, I used to do this in Florida when I worked for construction. We couldn't hire them if they were not registered. Yes, so let's answer this. You have a new driver, maybe just got CDL, or maybe driver who have been working for some companies who do not do safety and compliance correct, right? So if the person comes to you and you cannot find them in a system, well, first, they need to register. But secondary, if they ever been working, because remember, since January, it's already been mandatory. So you will need to still do employment verification. And actually, you should ask, why is they not registered? Because last year, half and half. Some people did not do it because if you don't have to do it, people don't do it, right? But since the January of this year, if you have been driving and you're a CDL driver, that would be like, okay, Alex, what's going on? What are we hiding here? And what kind of driver are we dealing with? It's up to you who you hire, but they need to be registered. Okay, love from Canada. I can help anyone also. Okay. Love to all your trainings. Thank you, Rosa. So let's see. Thank you for this information. My company just showed this paper in front of me and said you need to sign it and never explain it. Yes, unfortunately, sorry, the name Jamie. This is a problem in people who run in transportation companies. They throw the papers in front of you and they don't explain to you why do you need to sign, what is the liability on you signing something or giving permission. That's why every time you guys sign something, you should be questioning them. Why do I give you permission for how long? For 5 years? What are you going to use it with a copy of my CDL? Do you keep those files protected? Because remember, as a company, transportation company, we have what? We have copy of your CDL. We have copy of your social security. We have your medical card. We have all these forms. And one of the rules, which FMCSAs actually, when they do audits, and they were strict on this, first of all those files have to be locked. And if you do have digital TMS, tracking management software, that access cannot be given to everybody. So this is one of the issues. Again, because people do not follow regulations. So you as a driver, you can ask and demand explanation. Where's your personal information are going to be stored? How is it protected? And it's nothing wrong with that because it is your personal information. And every time you sign something, you should read it. And the problem is, lots of times it's so many papers that you just want to go through this and sign, and then something happens, right? Well, they charge you $5,000 from scratch trailers. They charge you this. They don't give you deposits because somewhere in those tiny contracts, they have all those fines, all these extra little things, right? And you go to court, and to go to court now, this is a civil matter, right? It takes thousands and thousands of dollars. So usually you're going to waste more money than you're going to receive. My advice to you, if you do speak and read English, ask them to send you copy of all the paperwork before you go to the office so you can actually read it, or maybe ask somebody, what do you think about this? For people who do not speak English, actually the company has to have a representative who can translate to you in your native language. Did you know that? And what happens nowadays? We have so many drivers who not speak in English or write English. And it's kind of funny because FMCSA says the minimal requirements are what? You need to have a valid CDL, medical card, pass a drug test, but you need to read and write in English. And then they go and they let to take CDL exam in Polish, in Russian, in Spanish, in other languages. So it's like, FMCSA, are you guys contradicting with your own rules? So if I can go, if I don't speak English and I'm going to take a test in Polish, and then you stop me and you give me violation because I did not meet minimum requirement, this is kind of doesn't make sense. But believe me, in a safety class, we're going to find a lot of things which do not make sense logically, which are nonsense. But again, what can you do? Not much you can do. It takes all of us to learn about this and start kind of fighting for our rights, because some of the rules have to be moved from the FMCSA and some of them have to be adjusted. But can only one person do it? No, that's why, guys, what do I always say? That together we can change trucking for better. Every like counts, every comment counts, and every good professional safety manager counts. Every good professional dispatcher counts. Every good professional driver who understands what he's doing counts. Everybody who understands that it is important for all of us to succeed is counting, right? So thank you for bringing that up, because that's what happens in this industry. Okay, we get paid $15 for safety training every month. Okay, so to be clear, so they pay you $15 or you have to pay. Can you verify that really fast? So that way everybody is in safety. Okay, so they pay you. Okay, I just see the second comment. So they give you $15 for you to go to safety training. Well, this is good. I mean, at least they give you incentives. They have to do it anyway. And actually, you're required to go through the training. But if they compensating you for your time because you spending your time. So $15 sounds good. Okay. Once Clearinghouse prohibits a driver, what driver needs to do to be eligible to go back to work? Well, he has to go through the process which calls return to duty. So he has to go through SAP, substance abuse professional, and they will decide if he needs to take classes, if he has to go through rehab. And again, guys, this is not cheap. After he completes all those steps and he is clean, and substance abuse professional will sign off, and he can go back to duty. So that's it's called RTD, return to duty. So that's what he has to do. Okay, I would like to take your dispatch class, but sadly I would have to wait for finances. Well, you can still watch lots and lots of our videos. It's a lot of information, so at least you can start to prepare. And we have classes almost monthly. The next class is in March. And what else? There is no limit to per use and perfection. Yes, nobody can be perfect, and you can improve yourself every day. You can learn every day. That's why it's never stopping process. I already told my students that every day you have to start with what? You have to start with beginner's mind, because beginner's mind, not an expert mind. Because if I would say, oh, I'm already an expert, Alex knows it all, right? Well, your nose grows big, you start thinking that you're the best. Well, that's an expert level. But again, you can be expert only in certain things, and things change, right? In trucking, they change every day. So you should start your day and anything you want to do or learn as a beginner's mind. So your mind is open to new information, to new changes, to new markets, right? To new rules and regulations. Approach this life as a beginner's mind, even on your family level, on your friendship level. Be open to new possibilities. This is the only way you can grow and be better and better. And it's no such a thing as perfection. If perfection would exist, we would have a perfect trucking. Trucking is far away from perfect. This is industry which is very uneducated, and it's not the fault of the drivers. It's not the fault of dispatchers. It's just because it's how it's have been ran, right? For the last 10, 20, 30 years. And finally, we start seeing some people who got tired of this, because it's very hard to own your own company, do everything by rules, when 70% of people run this business without rules and regulations. Of course, it's easier for them, right? They just take a chance. It's very hard to be a pro dispatcher and understand profits and make sure that you negotiate and try to get the most profits to your driver, right? It's better just to be an average dispatcher like everybody else. Why should you pay attention to the liability? Why should you know the cargo, right? It's different levels to all of this. And I'm lucky that I am able to kind of have my mission. And with all your help, we can change the trucking for better. This industry has billions and billions of dollars, right? We all can make money. We all can succeed. We just need to start getting rid of scammers, dispatchers who have no clue, but they advertise that, oh my God, they're gonna keep you running for $10. We need to get rid of unprofessional drivers who cannot even pass drug test or don't know how to do PTI, right? Doesn't even to know how to check on the brakes because he went to school and he passed somewhere school which doesn't really teach. We have a lot of CDL schools which are scamming. How can you learn in 3 days and get a CDL? I don't know how. Then they go and they pass exam in the native language. So most of the time they don't even understand what they asking, but they pass. We have a lot of scammers even teaching these classes, right? We have people who pretend, I do this all the time, I teach, and then you ask them to do one phone call and, well, they don't have trucks, they don't have carriers, but they show you lifestyle, right? Oh my God, they have Bentleys, they have Gucci. But when you ask, so what is your company? Where's your truck? Nobody heard of them, right? All the trucking gurus. Then we have people who do have good energy, right? They who have personality, but then they got taste of the money. And why to put more into your training, right? It's okay. People start still sign up. People still paying. Who cares if I'm just selling them BS, right? They still go after my good energy. And people who know what I'm talking, they already got my hand. I'm not here to put anybody down, but I know for sure that we do have scammers. We have people who are afraid of competition, so they block you. If you share a video on how to do this, this, and this, they're like, oh my God, don't tell everybody. They have to pay for this. And they block you from their minority and woman group, right? Because you are their competition. Because you go and you sit and you listen to their life and they just give nonsense advice. They just give fake promises. But what they do, instead of improving, instead of learning, oh, well, they block you. But it's okay, guys, because look how many people we have already. Look how many students we have. And we have other great teachers in this industry. But it's up to you to understand the level of training. And it doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be some specific course, because everything is available. So really, pay attention one more time. Here is Clearinghouse. Yesterday we covered what? UCR, right? UCR.gov with all their learning, right? Whatever you need, you can learn right here, right? You can have all this information. Then what else we have? We have FMCSA, right? You guys can go to FMCSA. This is your number one tool. You can find a lot of things. OpenMC. You want to know how to open MC? Let's put MC, right? Click right here. Look how simple. Get an attorney. Wow. Types of attorney. Remember yesterday we were talking about different attorneys, and somebody was asking me what was a freight forwarders. That's where you can find all here. Apply for attorney, right? Right here. What do you need to do? Well, simply going through the system. If you already have US duty, but if you are first time, that's where you guys gonna go. And I am gonna make another live to go through this. Are you a new applicant or you returning applicant? So this is simple. So far you have resources, drug and alcohol, you have UCR, you have FMCSA. What else? IFTA? Wow, are you still confused about IFTA? This is your official IFTA. You have problem in your state? Wow, what is your jurisdictional state? Where is your company register? Let's choose, let's say Connecticut. Wow, here's the information. Who can you contact? And it's gonna take you right there. Oh, I don't know why. Hold on, maybe their website. Sometimes their website, let's choose different states. Sometimes state websites, they refresh at night, so you just have to try a few more times. Let's see if the Delaware is up to date. Look, see, right here, it took you to what? To Delaware, right? Are you still where? You still in a different state? Okay, Kentucky, let's take you to Kentucky. And you have people, you have phone numbers, you have all the rules, and that's where you open your Kentucky IFTA and even your IFTA account, right? Your motor carrier. Look at this. You're gonna do what? Online services. What are you guys gonna do? Are you gonna access a motor carrier profile? So all of this, guys, I am explaining. I am teaching in our safety classes. You don't have to pay anyone to do your permits, to calculate your IFTA, to renew your UCR, to update your USDOT, to open new MC, to do any changes. You can learn and be a pro, even if it's only for your company, especially if it's your company. You have to be silly not to know this, because this is very, very expensive industry if you make mistakes, right? So let's see. Yes. Hello, Alex. Peter's here. I'm so late. It's okay. All these videos are reposted, so you guys can rewatch. And I give a lot of information, and I do sometimes talk really fast just because I want to cover a lot of things. So you can rewatch, you can take notes, right? Some people already telling me, Alex, my kids listening to you on background because some videos or lives I rewatch few times just because I want to get it. So it's always there. Thank you so much for answering. You're welcome. And Volodymyr, my previous student. Hi, I'm learning all my life. Yeah, that's what we do. And I have best knowledge from your videos. Thanks, Alice. And again, another awesome class. So thank you for joining me. Tomorrow we're gonna do live, but we're gonna do it earlier. I'll see how I'm scheduled, but probably what's tomorrow? Wow, tomorrow is already before New Year. So we're gonna do probably around noon. And you guys don't have to be worried if you cannot watch because it's a holiday. You guys getting ready again. It's going to be about the market, what has to go on your truck by regulations, what has to go on your trailer, which permits do you need to have as a trucking company, and of course, what has to go to driver folder, truck folder. We're not talking about driver qualification. Hello from North Carolina. Hello, guys. And again, if you're looking to sign up for IFTA, make sure you do so. Class is going to be on the 16th. Sign up at least 4 days before IFTA because I will be sending you some paperwork that you guys need to start filling out, especially if you guys have company. If you're going to be filing IFTA for the first time, do not wait to the last minute. Our safety starts in January 30th, right? For safety classes as well, at least 5 days before the class starts, because I will send you terminology. I will send you lots of things to prepare for my classes. My classes are intense. And of course, we're going to our January dispatch class, which starts on 22nd. Thank you so much for watching. Please I see we have like 33, 40 people watching. So hopefully I can get 40 likes. You've been guys asking questions. Thank you for sharing. Even if you just click like or star, or maybe you did not like it, it matters. I really appreciate that. And we have another person. I am new to this forum. I believe it will be worth attending your dispatch class. My question is, how can we get customer for dispatch? Do I help to get customers to begin with? Well, to get customers for dispatch, you need to know what you're doing. So first, you need to get the knowledge. You have to have the communication skills. You need to know load boards. You need to know markets. And then when you validate information, when you can show the carrier, it's easy to find the carrier. So again, the questions, how can I get carrier without knowledge? That's something which I never answer. First, you need to know what you are offering. Thank you. Thank you, Lana. And again, I'll see you tomorrow. And Happy New Year. But I guess I'll see you tomorrow. So I'll tell you one more time. No more comments. Like. Thank you, Mia. Another great information. Thanks again. Thank you, guys. I'll see you soon. And remember that together we can change trucking for better. I am on a mission. You are on a mission. And our mission is growing bigger and we can succeed. It's all in your mind, that beginner's mind, right? So hopefully I gave you some motivational speech today, and something you can think about. And remember, tomorrow is the last day of 2021. You need to have your goals. Did you start writing your goals? Right? Did you start putting in your new planners what you want to do? Do you want to achieve careers? Do you want to buy trucks? Do you want to get training? What are you guys planning to do? It's up to you. I am only giving you this much, but you getting everything else. And I know you can do it. Thank you again. Thank you, guys. See you tomorrow.